It's a beautiful idea. I dreamed of rains and the rain came. Isn't that fun? In California, the good Governor Brown just declared us out of the drought. We dreamed of rain and the rain came. So those are those are leaves from a palm frond. And this is Palm Sunday. And there are a few of them here. If you decide you'd like to keep one as a little symbol, you're welcome to get them after service. The idea, of course, Palm Sunday was really quite something, and it's a little bit related to that song. I love that idea of I dreamed of rain and the rains came. It's basically, I had a prayer and the prayer got answered. I had a prayer and the prayer got answered. Right? So this day is really about, it's called the Easter Idea Inclusive. And as Denise already pointed out earlier, we've been talking about the life of the caterpillar, right? And the life of the caterpillar has within it, as we've all learned if you've been here the last couple of weeks, the caterpillar has within it, from the time it's born, these cells that are called imaginal cells. And the imaginal cells, originally the body of the caterpillar keeps trying to destroy them because the caterpillar doesn't really know its true nature. Yes? So it keeps trying to destroy them, but these imaginal cells have an idea of who the caterpillar really is. And even though they keep trying to be destroyed, they keep recreating themselves. And then these imaginal cells do something really interesting. They start talking to one another. And as they begin to talk to one another, they begin to clump together. And as they clump together, they become the dominant reality of the caterpillar. And the caterpillar surrenders itself to its own rebirth. It surrenders itself to the cocoon. As we've been asking the question, who makes the cocoon? Who makes that cocoon? The caterpillar does, yes? It does it itself. It surrenders itself to itself. Yes? Well, it's really interesting because that's really the whole story of Palm Sunday. That's the whole story. You know, I have great respect for the medical doctor, psychiatrist Dr. David Hawkins, MD. David Hawkins passed away just a couple of years ago in his very late 80s or young 90s, and was by his own awareness enlightened before he left. For probably some 6 or 7 years, he had this state of consciousness where he could see things as they actually are. And he brought forth something wonderful called the Hawkins Scale. And the Hawkins Scale starts at 0 and goes to 1,000. And it's the scale of the consciousness of humanity. And the top of the scale are the two great spiritual leaders that we know so far, Buddha and Jesus, as the highest idea of what you can be in the human condition, and everything else vibrating below that. So Al Cid, if I could borrow your arm for a second. So we would say Al Cid is a man of peace, yes? So put your arm up to the side. Say, I am Al Cid. I'm going to push down, you resist. Say, I'm Al Cid.
I'm Al Cid.
Say, I'm a man of peace.
I'm a man of
yes.
peace.
Okay, so I am not a gorilla. Say, I'm not a gorilla.
I am not a gorilla.
Okay, now say, I am a gorilla.
I am a gorilla.
No, you're not a gorilla. Okay, so now, because the reason is, let your arm down for a second, I'll tell some people, that in the Hawkins scale, below 250, you're functioning at an animal level. And literally, you're safer in a cage with gorillas, as in case you saw that baby that the gorilla saved last summer out of the zoo, right? You're safer with gorillas than you are with human beings vibrating that low. Yes? So let's go to, so we're going to measure the room. So this room is vibrating above 500. Say above 500.
Above 500.
Yeah, okay. This room is vibrating at 450. Yeah, around 450. 450 up. Okay, everybody say, I am.
I am.
Now everybody deliberately open your heart. I am teachable.
I am teachable.
Today I'm stepping forward.
Today I'm stepping forward.
Okay, let's see what we got in the room right now. 500. Yeah, we went 500, 575. Almost, just by shifting your attitude that fast, we brought the energy up in the room almost 200 points in the Hawkins scale. Thank you. Right? So what we know is that we can, by what we're doing with our choices inside, we can affect the energy that's happening around us. And of course, that's true in a group. Right? Now, if we all began to wake up and really claim this divinity within ourselves, don't you see that that's making it easier for everybody else to step up into that vibration? Yes? So this is basically the story, and the reason we've been talking about the Easter idea inclusive is, as I was saying to Denise as she was in the office earlier, she said, what are we talking about today? What's the Easter idea inclusive? I said, do they have caterpillars in China, Grant? Do they have, and you've been to, I don't know if you've been to Bali, they have caterpillars in Bali. They have caterpillars in Bali. They have caterpillars in South America. They have caterpillars in South America. They have caterpillars in Africa. They have caterpillars. Right now, in all of these places in the world, are they all the same tradition? So caterpillars don't like only show up in front of Christians or Jews or Muslims, right? Or Tibetans, or right? Caterpillars show up all over the world for everybody. Yes? It's kind of like lightning, yes? Lightning is all over the world for everybody, right? Now, was lightning always all over the world for everybody? Yes? Now, Ben Franklin was in the United States, and he said, well, that lightning could be conducted. And he sent a kite up there and got a shock on a key. You all remember that story, yes? Well, then we knew that power was usable. But Ben was the one who discovered that, so how come he didn't put that in his pocket? How come there's no patent on electricity? Because he found it. Or he found out it was usable. Well, what about the Wright brothers? The Wright brothers flew that plane, but that means you can only fly planes in the United States of America because we found it. Do you see how that works? That just because you found a principle doesn't make it yours. The principle belongs to everybody. It has always belonged to everybody. And so this thing that Jesus saw was really the imaginal cell of who we really are. Now, this is not about politics. I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about bad behavior. Okay? Did you notice in and around the election time and through the election time that a lot of Americans on all sides of the fence had bad behavior? Did you notice that?
Yes.
Right? That they became irritable and wanting to fight and violent, and on all sides there was very bad behavior, yes? Right? Well, does that mean that we should all get involved in bad behavior, or bad behavior should be the right way to move? Just because people get involved in bad behavior? Okay, well, so this is exactly the same idea that happened to Jesus. Jesus is carrying this truth, and his own version of the burning bush, sometime right around this time of year, right around Passover, because Jesus is very clear Jesus was a Jew. We know that, yes? He was a Jew. But he was looking at the tradition and saying, there's something about this tradition that is absolutely true, and you are not seeing it. You are not seeing the truth that's behind the tradition. And so he began to see this truth, and he began to, the same thing he told us to do, ask and seek and knock about truth. And he put this truth in his heart, and he began to ask who he called Abba, the beloved, in whom he was in relationship. And we say, you are born to have fun living, to constantly commune with the presence that's within and around you. Isn't that a relationship? If I'm constantly communing with the presence, aren't I in a relationship? So he was in this relationship, and in this relationship, in his own version of the burning bush, right around this time of year, he goes, you know what? You could be doing this forever, and they're not going to hear you because they keep saying, you're the Son of God, you're the miracle worker, you have great powers. And he kept saying, no, it is not I, but the power within me that does the work. It's the power within you, that you and I are one, that you and the Father are one, that I and the Father are one, that we are all one. That's what he kept saying. We're all one. And they kept saying, well, you're the dude, man, you the dude, you the dude. Oh, no, we're all one. No, but you the dude, you the dude. No. And he saw, no matter what the heck I do, it's going to be me. I have to do the loaves and fishes. I have to turn the water into wine. I have to calm the storm. I got to call the blind to see. I call the lame to see the walk. I got to do this while I'm trying to say, you do it. You do it. Cause the blind to see and the lame to walk. Help. Get in the picture. Claim this divinity of yourself. And even his best disciples are going, you the man, you the man. Oh, that's it. We're going to claim it, but you the man. Nobody would claim it. And so he gets this insight. He said, oh my God, so long as I'm here, and he even told the disciples a few months ago when he got all upset because he's trying to nap, and they wouldn't calm the storm themselves, right? He says, how long do I have to be among you? And then that thought, just like any other seed thought that you dwell on, it started to grow. He began to say, well, what is this lotus flower? What is this thing that I am? Well, I know that I am, and I see through it, and I know. I see right through the mist. And the main mist he wanted us to see through was this idea that we're mortal beings. Everybody say, I am. I am an immortal spiritual being. Now, you could muscle test anybody you want, and you're allowed to play with that. That's called, what is that called? Kinesiology. I knew that. It's called kinesiology, right? You can all play with kinesiology. It's legal. There's nothing wrong with it. But you'll find out. Your subconscious knows what's true, right? So this big lesson, the main lesson of Jesus was, you guys, now wait, I'll switch to the Ernest Holmes, a few thousand years after Jesus, nice man, right? Wise soul. Ernest Holmes, this great writer and teacher, he says, if you understand the truth, and let me give you ideas that will help you understand the truth, the purpose of these lessons is to enable you to get freed from your own limited thinking, to see through the mist into the eternal reality of your own existence. These lessons are dedicated to that truth which frees man from himself and sets him on the pathway of a new reality that enables him to see through the mist into the eternal and changeless reality. Into what kind of changeless reality? Into the eternal and changeless reality. So it turns out that New Thought, and this is a New Thought tradition, we're part of a New Thought tradition. New Thoughts has a brand new thought. And the new thought is the idea of the race is incorrect. You're not a mortal being, you're an immortal being. And if you start identifying with your immortal nature, it'll take you a lot farther than life's a bitch and then you die. You get it? If I start to practice my immortal nature. And so this is what happened to the man Jesus. And this whole week is filled with all this drama, but it's about death passing us over. Isn't that interesting? That's what the Jewish tradition was about. The idea that death passed over the Jews, right? Death passed over. If death passed over, what does that mean? That means I'm still living, yes? The lesson of Passover is about immortal life. So inside his own tradition, there was something trying to happen which he saw everybody couldn't see. Not even the Jews couldn't see it. The Jews couldn't see it, the Romans couldn't see it, the Gentiles couldn't see it, the Samaritans couldn't see it, nobody could see it. So he says, well, we're going to have to do something. I'm going to have to do something because I'm feeling bound. I'm feeling bound, and I know that's not my nature. And I came to do a work, and I need to do the work. So there had to be a way for him to step through his mortal life into his immortal life in order for this to happen. So I am of the belief, for those who got my letter this week, in something called the Judas Plot, that all of this it was all planned, that it's all conspiracy, that Jesus said, oh, okay, well, this could get messy, but on the other hand, I have no other way to let the light shine through. Now, when you're facing darkness, what should you do? Should you turn and hide from the darkness? Should you run away from the darkness? What should you do when things get dark in your life?
Follow the light.
Thank you. Find the light. Now, how do I find the light? In New Thought, it's real easy. I wrote you a letter about this the other day. How do you call on the light? Well, if you feel stuck, you have to know God has an answer. And you have to know God will give you an answer, and God will tell you how to follow that answer. Oh, I mean, you have to have faith that there's a new thought, that you can get a new idea, that there's a way for you to ask and seek and knock differently than you've done before that will open the door, right? But if you go, oh, it's going from bad to worse, and I'm now getting afraid, and what's going to happen? I've now gone completely the wrong direction. Do you see that? Right? So that's where you have to stop and use the tool and bring the light into bear. Where is God right now? Where is God right now? Where is God right now? Do you follow? Where is God right now? And it's not the same. So I was telling Denise, I have in my phone, these new phones you carry photo albums with you, right? Go to find a picture, there's like 4,000 pictures in your phone. It's like, whoa, okay. So I go to look through the pictures the other day, and I went, God, there's a lot of pictures of my boat at sunrise, which is where I have coffee on the boat, right? There's a lot of pictures of the same exact spots where I sit and have coffee. And it goes, but people would say, well, that looks like the same picture. I said, no, if you looked, you'd see that every one of those pictures is different. It's a different sunrise, it's a different sky, it's a different look. It's very different, but it looks the same, right? But you have to have the eyes to see it, to see what's really there. The dawn of a new day, the dawn of a new possibility, the dawn of a new good, right? So that's basically what happened. Jesus said, well, they keep saying it's about me. They're not listening. I keep saying it's about two things, forgiveness and eternal life. So they're not listening. So we're going to have to stir it up. They're going to have to do something to change. If you continue to do the same thing over again and expect different results, what do we call that now? Insanity. That's the new understanding of insanity. He needed to do something different, right? So this is the day that he said, well, you say I'm the King of Kings. You say I'm the Lord of Lords. You say I'm the God of gods. Okay, I am. What? He says, no, let's make a big deal about it. Let's get some palm fronds and put them all over the road, because that's what we do when royalty's coming. Let's put some palm fronds all over the road. No, get me a white burro. I need a white burro, because royalty rides on white burros, right? And so get me a white burro, get some palm fronds, and get out the people to swing Hosanna and scream at me, like get the rock fans out, get my pop fans to start screaming, right? And I'll come into town and we'll just say this is all true, knowing that this was going to upset the Jews. It was going to upset the priests. It was going to upset the Romans. The Gentiles were already afraid. The Samaritans weren't involved. And he knew everybody was going to get turned upside down by this little dance. Right? And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So then it comes, so now we look at what today's work is all about, which is this idea is not a religious idea. It belongs to all people, this possibility of rebirth. And I have at my house, I shared with you last week, I have a tree. It's kind of like a manzanita-looking tree, but it's not manzanita, but it's something like it, really soft bark, smooth and everything. And it was completely without leaves and looked like it was completely dead. So I actually, went out to the thing and snapped off some things and said, no, it's definitely dead. It's dry, it's broken, it's dead. But then I looked down at the base, and there were two little leafy things sticking out of something in the base. There's a wonderful play called The Secret Garden. And in The Secret Garden, there's a young man who believed that everything is wick, was the word he used. It's wick, right? Meaning it doesn't look like there's life in it, but there is life in it. You just have to add water, right? So here I looked at this tree, was seriously thinking of taking this tree out. Then I saw that it was a little bit wick. There was something wick in there, right? And now, just after this winter, after these rainstorms, the tree is blossoming fully in every branch and every leaf. That's you. You think you're the small you. You're just this little personal you having this lifetime in the human experience. No, you're not. You're an immortal spiritual being. And we just have to add water to that to get that to bloom, to get that to unfold, to get that to bring the full life all the way forward. Right? And so the great mistake, according to New Thought, and we did a series this year called The New Normal. We say the new normal, the correct normal, so it's funny, we say New Thought and ancient wisdom, it's really going all the way back to the original normal. The original normal is health is normal. A radiant, vibrant, dynamic, healthy body is normal, right? That being able to supply yourself with what you need, with what's joyful for you, that's called wealth. To supply yourself with what's joyful for you is wealth, isn't it? right? So supply yourself with what's joyful for you is wealth. That's normal, right? Health is normal. Wealth is normal. To actually love somebody, to actually have relationships and be involved with life, that's normal, right? To actually love and to have animals respond to you like you love them, and to have people respond to you like you love them, and to have relationships that are kuba, not just universal love, but personal love. Isn't that normal? That's normal, right? And here's the other great thing. Living for eternality is normal. And to know yourself as an eternal being is normal. To think that you came and you're going to die and turn to nothingness is not normal. That's not true. It has never been true. Do you see that? So basically, Jesus was bringing forth the new normal, and he said, I'll show you it's the new normal. Right? And that's what the whole drama is about. So the drama was not about how badly people behave. Didn't we just talk about that? Let me say it again. The drama is not about how badly people behave, no matter what. Because what do we have to do with people's bad behavior? What did Jesus have to do? What was his first word as they were doing this very bad behavior unto him? Forgive them, they know not what they do. Hello. It's a lesson in forgiveness. It's a lesson in the divine feminine. How many people, and I don't want a show of hands, because if you don't have your hand up, you got to work on yourself. How many people don't understand that men and women are 100% equal and need to be treated as 100% equal in the world? Don't you see that as so? Because that's the only way to honor the divine feminine, which brings forth all things. You can't have a society that says women are this and men are that. That's not the way it is. That's not there is no divine anything without the divine feminine. And you can't have the divine masculine without the divine feminine. So that's why he said, behold your mother. Behold your mother. He's talking about behold this divine feminine, which is also the place of infinite compassion, right? Because it is only that we give birth. What about, anybody have a kitty cat? Any kitty cat lovers? Okay. Anybody had more than one cat in their life? Right? That you've had to surrender that cat because its lifetime is shorter than yours? It's true with dogs as well, right? But isn't it so true that to love creation and to have had that relationship with that dog or that cat was so worth it, wasn't it? But yes, it hurts when it's over, but we need to know there's other dogs and cats and other relationships. The door is open. That cat and the dog left the door open for new cats and dogs, didn't it? We just have to go through it. So that's the divine feminine, where we know it is worth it to love creation. It's worth it to love creation. So he called out the divine feminine. He called out, now, and he says, and then the last line, one of the last lines, he says, I thirst. Oh, the other one, today you will be with me in paradise, he says. Today, you will see through the mist. And you'll have an opportunity to reframe your whole life today. Do you have to hang on the cross to be able to reframe your whole life today? Is the cocoon held out for special religious groups? Or is it everywhere present? And so this thing that he called forth, honor the divine feminine. Forgive them. The drama is not what it's about. Forgive them. They know not what they do. Behold your mother. Today, the possibility exists to be in paradise. And that's the other one. I thirst. I thirst. Well, don't you thirst? Don't you thirst for a world awakened? Don't you thirst for goodwill toward all humanity and the earth? Don't you thirst for us all being able to go to a high place and create and love from this high place of honoring? Don't you thirst for that? There's nothing wrong with thirsting. That's what makes us move forward. It's the divine urge. I thirst. Oh, yes, I thirst. I agree, I thirst. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Right? But then there's, but then there's, I lost my faith for a second. You fell down. You hurt your eye. You hurt your shoulder. You twisted up. You're a great metaphysician. You said, God, heal me now. And it still took 2 weeks or 3 weeks. right? And we say, oh God, why hast thou forsaken me? And you've never done that, right? Do you see? Even in the healing was happening the whole time, but we lose our faith just for a second. Oh God, why hast thou forsaken me? And then never mind, I didn't mean that. Because the next line is, unto you I commend my spirit. Come on, I didn't mean that. Do you follow? So this story is not a story of the Jews or the Christians or Jesus' awakening or humanity's errors or any of the above. The story is about you. The story is about your resurrection. The story is about you becoming aware that death is not necessary. The death is just walking into another room. You don't have to walk into another room dramatically. You just see the door and walk through it. Yes? When it's your time. This story is not a story, it's a principle. And the principle doesn't belong to one religion, it belongs to humanity. And it will only shift in humanity's awareness when humanity gets out of dividing the pie and thinks it's about this religion or this saint or that saint. Oh my God, how long must I be among you? Do you see it? It's about a principle that says, I'm an immortal spiritual being, that I can commune so deeply with the divine that my life comes out as nothing but fun. Now there's a good goal. And there's a good thing to be resurrected in. To be resurrected in the divine reality of your own life and who you really are. Wouldn't that be nice? Yes? And the instructions are not Christian instructions. They are universal instructions. Jesus was not a Christian teacher. He never even heard the word Christian. He doesn't even know the word Christian. Jesus was a way shower for all humanity, as was the Buddha. And this enlightenment, this burning bush, this waking up, this resurrection belongs to all people, but it will not come to anybody who does not knock on the door and seek it and ask for it in every way, shape, and form. Behold, I am the divinity of the Most High. Behold, I am the glory of God. Behold, I can share that communion because you are that too. And now that is some kind of love, and that's some kind of way to be awake in the world. And I know for sure you do not have to lose your body to be that awake and alive in your life. And that is what Easter is all about. Being alive and awake and aware in your life and being in the love of God for the benefit of all. Whew. I prayed for rain, and the rains came. And it came all over the land. Whew. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're dealing with the most difficult crisis you've ever dealt with, or you're ready for the rains to make everything wick, whew, this I know for sure. Everything is going to work out just fine. I invite you to think on these things as together we explore the possibilities. Namaste. Thank you. Bless you, bless you. Thank you. All right. Woo! I feel the rain, and the rains came. Let's see, what happens next is spiritual mind treatment. That would be me. Okay, here we go. So we turn our attention to that which is the one life, the one presence, and the one power. And we shift our awareness into our heart. For whatever it is, I turn my attention to God. Without my heart in it, it will not mean a thing. So I open my heart. I surrender this self of myself, because this divinity that is spoken of is the truth about me. And that I might reveal it today in a way more profoundly, more deeply, more meaningful than I ever have before. That this is the day for that potential. That this story of Easter and Passover is asking us to see through the mist into its true nature. That I should be alive, awake, aware, and in tune right here and right now. And for this great good, working in my mind, in my body, and in my experience, as even the presence guards, protects, and directs me, that I move by knowing and knowing that I know. And for this new faith entering in, and this new consciousness brought forth into this world, and all the good that it takes place through me, in me, and around me, for this new consciousness with me as a starting point for a greater good, for this I am truly grateful. And I now let go. I let God. And I wait in awe and wonder. I look with anticipation for something glorious is happening in me and as me and through me in this week. And I am participating in the Easter experience. That I may rise up and shine as the glory of the I am that I am. And for this good, and all the good that it brings to each and all who touch my experience, for this I give deep and profound thanks. And I let go and let God and allow it to be, as together we declare, and so it is. Thank you. Let me invite the ushers to come forward as you prepare your gifts. This is, as you know, this center requires that we have special gifts. We've had a campaign. The green envelope in your program is the Easter campaign. That's the place for your special Easter gift, not your regular gift. We were looking forward everybody to come next week to have a special Easter gift to be able to share as we go forward and grow into the new tomorrow, yes? Because the way that works is by loosening the circulation within us, we also loosen the anticipation with us. Do you get it? By releasing the circulation within ourselves, we open the anticipation within ourselves. Do you see how that works? And we're expecting a greater good. So let your gift go. You see the affirmation is going to come up on the screen. It says, the spirit of my giving, right? So listen, give $5 less if you can't give it joyfully. Give the gift, let it go, and feel good about giving it. That's the key, right? So let's say affirmation. Here we go. Divine love, through the spirit of my giving, blesses and multiplies all that I give. And so it is.